Okay, here we go.
Okay.
Go.
My name is Heidi Smith, and I am on staff with a group called Athletes in Action. I have been an athlete my entire life, but in a different sense of the word. I was a really good runner back in high school, and got to compete in some national events like Foot Locker Nationals, and got offered a scholarship pretty much anywhere I wanted to go in the nation, and that was my dream, was to compete at a collegiate level and then eventually the Olympics. But halfway through my collegiate career, I got sick, which is kind of the cornerstone to my testimony. So when I was in high school and I had these big athletic dreams, I didn't think of the big picture. I didn't think that there was anything besides my sport. And that was a detriment to my future because everything that I pursued had to do with my sport, which was running. I ate running, I slept running, I breathed running, my friends were runners. It's all I thought about, it's all I did. If I wanted to pursue a relationship and that interfered with competition or practice or anything, then it was out of the question. So everything that I did was centered around this thing, and it became very much who I was and everything about me. So I competed and got offered a full scholarship to the University of Wisconsin-Madison, where my hero was training. That is Susie Favor Hamilton. She was an Olympic miler. And so I got to go compete at a national level with Olympians and an Olympic coach who told me he could make me the next Susie. And that just kind of contributed to the dream. And yeah, and if you would have asked me what my major was, I would have said running, and which meant that school really wasn't anything to me except a full ride. So I was receiving this incredible education for free, but all I could think about was my athletics. And halfway through my college career, I ended up getting really, really sick. I didn't know what was happening to me, but I started fainting in practice, and I started passing out, and started losing a lot of weight without trying. And went to a doctor and sat in their office and heard them say words like cancer and chemo and medical release. Well, I found out I had an autoimmune disorder that is incurable, and at the time it was pretty advanced, so they did not know how to treat me. So they just kind of threw a whole bunch of drugs my way, and I felt like a big experiment, which was really hard because when running was defining me, my body was failing me, and I wasn't competing to the level that I desired, and these drugs that I was taking were making me really, really sick. And I would take one for one symptom, and then I would need to take another for the side effect. So I was taking about 20 pills a day at one time, which was really hard on my body, really hard on me, and it just kept getting sicker and sicker until finally I was so sick that my coach pulled me aside and told me that I needed to take a medical release from the team. And I got to keep my scholarship, so I got to keep this education that I was pursuing to no end, because I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life beyond running. But I was not on the team anymore. And that was a huge defining moment for me because that was who I was. So for me, I was dead. I didn't know what I was going to do with my future. I didn't value myself beyond my sport. I didn't think anybody else valued me beyond what I did. It wasn't who I was. I'd never thought about what I wanted to do with my life or who I could be beyond my athletics. But what I realized was that there was something about me no one had ever introduced me to, and that was my faith. And it was a group called Athletes in Action, and the athletes at Wisconsin who were part of this organization that kind of approached me when I was in the hospital, because I did end up in the hospital at some point, and they introduced me to a bigger picture of who I was, and that my life was more than sports, and that I could use this lesson and my testimony to help other people. And so for me, I feel like God gave me another chance at running, but it wasn't what I thought it would be. I didn't get to compete to the end of my college career. I didn't get to go to the Olympics like I had dreamed, but I did get to use my story to help other athletes. And it was a really powerful one because for me, everything was wrapped up in this one thing, and the world was telling me who I was and that was what I did. And it was really important for me to recognize that wasn't who I was. It was just what I did. And that I had a story that I could help other people to realize they don't have to get to the point that I got to. They don't have to put all their eggs in one basket, and when that basket fails you, you have nothing left. It was a huge present, a huge gift to me, because it allowed me to start exploring different aspects about myself, start to figure out what hobbies I like and what things I like to pursue, how I have fun outside of athletics, and using my story to help other athletes has led me to what is now my career. I'm on staff with Athletes in Action, the organization that I say kind of helps save my life. I get to disciple and walk alongside athletes as they're going through their journey, figuring out who they are and how to use their sport to how to use their sport as an avenue to figure out who they are. And for me, the biggest part was to realize that you are a beautiful creation of God, and that He gave you talents, and how you use them matters. How you view them matters. So to walk alongside people who were where I was, who think that that's all they are and they have to win, they have to be the best, or they don't have value, is really an honor to me to be able to use some of the hardships in my life to help people see more about themselves, and to hopefully eventually make this world a little bit better of a place.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Thanks.
Yeah, so just one little thing before we wrap this thing up, like, do you have any, like, advice for, like, somebody who has gone through a type of failure and they feel like they can't, you know, or like they feel like something's been taken away from them, they can't get back? Like, what advice would you give to somebody to kind of help them, like, bounce back from it?
Yeah. Well, kind of like what I said, I've hit the bottom of bottoms. I have been so sick I almost died, and I've also gotten to the point where I wanted to kill myself. I wanted to die. So I feel like I've hit that rock bottom, and I don't know if that's what you're referring to, but just the hardship of not feeling like you can go on, or you don't know what to do with an injury or an illness or something that takes away this path that you're on. I think perspective. That as an athlete, we are taught that we earn what we get, and so everything that we pursue in life, we feel like we have to achieve, we have to do something to get it. And I feel like knowing that there's a bigger picture, to try to see the bigger picture, surround yourself with people who desire the bigger picture as well. For example, I thought that being the best at one point meant having an eating disorder, because everyone around me had an eating disorder. All these women were starving themselves to become fast runners. And if you surround yourself with people of like-minded thinking, where drive can turn into something that's a detriment, you can get caught up in that. But if you surround yourself with people who understand that there's value to who you are beyond your athletics, but that you are given a talent and you can do something with it. That's a platform to share messages. And for me, that's sharing your faith. The platform of sport can be used to share the gospel. Because athletes are heroes. Everyone wants a hero, and for some reason, sports is a universal language. You don't have to have anything in common with people, but if you have a love for a sports team, that will bring you together. So sports brings people together, and people are watching you. So to know that your talent can be used as a platform, even through injury or illness or some kind of downside to it, you have an opportunity to handle that in a different way. You have an opportunity to go through a hardship and still be a leader, because people are still watching you. You're still an athlete, but you can be a leader that's not necessarily the best on the team or the one achieving. You can be the one that's encouraging on the sidelines. You can be the one that is persevering through a hardship, and other people get to watch you do that gracefully, and they get to learn a lesson from that, there's a bigger picture, there's a bigger story. This is just a moment in your life that will add up to many moments, but that moment doesn't need to define you. You have so much more left to you, and sometimes being taken out of everything you know gives you a chance to see that, to explore the different parts of you that that aren't always in the spotlight. If that makes sense.
Yeah. No, that's like perfect. Like completely perfect. So yeah. Gonna wrap it up. So yeah, thanks.